All right, let's get into it, everyone. It's the NBA Draft on this Thursday night. We welcome you into a special edition of the Donovan Live Postgame Show alongside Jim Donovan. I'm Dave DeNatale. And Jimmy, for the second year in a row, the Cavaliers are going guard and going small guard. But Darius Garland is no small fry. He's really an interesting player. Young man from Vanderbilt, now the newest member of the Cavs after they took him with the 5th overall pick.
Yeah, absolutely. A great shooter, great scorer, a different kind of point guard, not as much of a facilitator as he is a scorer, and but a very, very small sample size coming out of college. He was going to be a one and done, but I mean, he's even more abbreviated because he only played 5 games at Vanderbilt because of a knee injury. But coming into the season, he was a 5-star recruit. He's a McDonald's All-American. He played at Brentwood Academy in Tennessee. He was on the varsity basketball team in 8th grade, and he went on and won all kinds of state championships for them there. Bryce Drew, of the famous college basketball Drew coaching family, he was the coach, and he landed him as, they say, the biggest and best recruit, not biggest in height, but the most publicized and most deserving recruit in Vanderbilt basketball history. So they were really excited to be able to get him away from the likes of Kentucky or Tennessee, especially for a kid growing up in Tennessee, that he didn't go to Tennessee. Instead, he went to Vanderbilt. But right around Thanksgiving, very early in a game against Kent State, he went in for a layup and he injured his meniscus. Yeah. And when they started to get him healthy again, he decided that he was going to just not play college basketball for the rest of the year and risk it, which is different than Zion Williamson now. Yeah. And he was going to get himself healthy enough to get ready for the NBA draft. That's the backstory and the front story, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. And here's the thing. I mean, with Garland in the lineup, Vandy starts out 4-0. Look like, boy, they're going to, this could be a fun year, for a program that needed, frankly, a jump start. And then he gets the injury, and I think they finished 5-23 after the injury and completely turned everything around, including, the aforementioned coach.
That's right. Well, they lost the game against Kent State when he went down. And he went down really early in the game, and Kent State beat them down there. And here's Bryce Drew landing this big-time recruit, and they don't win a game at all in the SEC. Yeah. And as you said, only had 5 wins on the year, and they had 4 when he was playing. And he loses his job. Right. I mean, he doesn't get brought back. So, I mean, here you get this huge player. For a school like Vanderbilt, I mean, that's a big guy to get. And it works out the worst possible way. He doesn't play. He gets hurt. He says, I'm not coming back because he's going to go play and get ready for the NBA. And the coach loses his job. So, but let me just say this. I think this is the kind of player John Beilein likes. Okay, he likes shooters. I mean, everywhere he's been, including when he coached Mike Gansey at West Virginia, he likes shooters. Yep. I mean, his guards shoot, and he wants them to shoot a lot and to shoot well, and that's what this kid does. Now, we had Jason Lloyd on, earlier from the Athletic, and Jason, of course, knows the game very well, and he believes that Colin Sexton's going to take a backseat to this kid, at least at point guard.
Well, it is interesting because Sexton is out at the draft tonight talking with Yahoo and Chris Haynes, the former Plain Dealer beat writer and a former ESPN beat writer, and Sexton said he envisions playing with Garland like what Portland has with Lillard and McCollum. Basically, where nobody is a true distributor, but they're two, basically you figure out you have 2 scoring guards and you make it work from there.
Right. Well, yeah, and again now, I think, and I think that really when you take a look at the kid Garland, he kind of patterns his game after Lillard. Yeah. He really likes him. I think it might be his favorite player. And I think that he's had that style of play has had an effect on him, and he's kind of patterned his game. His body size is almost like that. Right. I mean, he's really ready to go. He's a beautiful shooter. I mean, if you watch him shoot, especially when he really is outside shooting the basketball, and I mean, beyond a three-point line, which will be farther back now in the NBA, he's got kind of a Steph Curry look at times, the way he lets it go. But it's really smooth. Nobody ever really is underselling his offensive part of his game. I mean, he scores.
Yeah. Now, again, I want to just go back to the point you made right at the start, because I've gone through a lot of social media here since the Cavs made the pick, and people are like, well, this sounds good, but he only played 4 or 5 games or whatever. Let's understand this. If there wasn't a one and done system in the NBA, Darius Garland probably would have gone into the draft last year.
Yeah, right.
And would have been a lottery pick last year. So it's not like, the injury is the injury, but it's not like he needed a wealth of college experience for us to realize he could be a legit NBA prospect.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, and really, let's face it, all of the kids, especially him and the other 4 that were picked in front of him, they all would have gone probably to the NBA too. I don't think Zion Williamson really needed a year at Duke.
Right.
I think everybody knew he was destined for the NBA. Why not try and pick up a national championship along the way? The other thing that kind of cleared the path for this was the trade to get to 4.
Right.
Okay, that got in front of the Cavaliers, and they took DeAndre Hunter, who I think was on the Cavaliers board, the small forward out of Virginia. So now you were going to go for a different kind of player there, much more of a defender than a scorer. And again, some people that look at the Cavs say, at some point the Cavaliers need to take a look at their lack of defense, even through the LeBron years, very much so. I mean, the Cavs outscored you. They didn't really out-defend you. The kid Hunter was more of a defender than he was a scorer. But the guy they got he's a shooter. There's no doubt about it. I mean, whereas people really, if you go back a year ago now, when Colin Sexton came to the Cavaliers out of Alabama, people worried about his shooting.
Yes.
I mean, that he really wasn't a great outside shooter. He scored to the basket. I mean, he penetrated and scored that way. The way Kyrie Irving, goes to the basket. Sexton was that kind of a player. But he developed a pretty good outside shot by the end of the year. The amazing thing is, when you think about it, because of the NCAA restrictions on how much time they can practice and be around a program, once these players get into an NBA system, and if they're worth their salt at all, they get into the gym and stay in the gym. And just the fact that they're doing it every day, and there are no limitations. There's self-limitations more than anything else. They become much better at the skills like shooting. I mean, if a guy has a tough time shooting, he becomes a pretty darn good shooter. Michael Jordan wasn't a great shooter when he was at North Carolina. He was an off-the-charts athlete. But again, he just became a really good shooter. Yeah,
it's all that refining work that you do, and that's what can separate you. I mean, it's the Larry Bird taking 500 shots before the start of a game or whatever. It's that refining work. Crystal says here on Facebook, she likes the pick. She's saying it's like Dumars and Thomas, and boy, I hope you get 2 Hall of Famers in Sexton and with Darius here, but we'll see. I mean, it has a young, explosive backcourt for the future with these two, Sexton and Garland. It could really work out like that.
Well, it also has a bit of a Western Conference look to it.
Yeah, it really
does.
Because
a lot of the Western Conference teams, I mean, certainly Thompson and Curry. I mean, you start right there, okay? You go to McCollum and Lillard, up in Portland, and you take a look at that situation there. Now you're going to take a guy like Mike Conley, you're going to put him in Utah. It has kind of a Western Conference look, if it works out that way, with Sexton now and this kid Garland. But again, now John Beilein will become a big part of this. John Beilein, before he went to the podium to be formally introduced as the head coach of the Cavaliers that morning, when the Cavs made it official and were introducing him, he was coaching Larry Nance Larry Nance Jr. on his shot.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, he's going to get them in the gym. But this kid's shot does not need a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, he is his prowess is his offensive game.
Apparently, I mean, there have been all kinds of talk because there are teams in this draft. I mean, Atlanta comes to your mind and things like that have multiple first-round picks. But after the Davis trade and everything, and Atlanta getting up, and it seems like the Cavaliers, while they may have been tempted to move down, they were very satisfied, very happy to stick at 5 and see how things would develop, and it developed, I think, pretty nicely for them.
Yeah, I think if they had a worry, it was that number 4 pick was obviously on the market, and it ended up being traded, and that's what happened, and that's fine, and then it cleared the way for them. I think the next thing they would like to do, all night long, and I think this is an all-night-long process for them. They'd like to dump J.R. Smith.
Yes.
I mean, they'd like to get rid of that contract to get him off the books somehow and get him on their way. That's been dead since last year when they removed him and told him to go home. It's a blur on them right now, and I think it's time to flush that away. Now, who will take that? There are teams that are in the market to do that, though, and that's the crazy part of the NBA.
Yeah, where you
taking,
have
bad money,
dead contracts.
Bad contracts.
They have we're about halfway through this first round already. That's how quickly things kind of move in here in the NBA draft. They've got the 26th pick, but I'm with you. I would think also that if they could offload J.R. Smith and somehow figure, even if they have to take on somebody else's high-priced contract, if they could buy another pick essentially by doing that, and it might not be this year, might be next year, because I don't think they have. I double check. I don't think they have a second-round pick.
They do not have a second.
So I mean, it's 26, and then they can pretty much call it a year. But they might do something else. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, and I don't think there's something else. At least tonight would be Kevin Love, and I know there was some talk about Kevin Love being out there yesterday, and some teams were interested in him, and maybe they, hey. The telephone rings, right? You pick it up at this time of the year and on this particular night. And if someone calls and says, hey, what do you want to do with Kevin Love? But I don't think they're ready to do that. I really do believe they'd like to get J.R. Smith off the books tonight.
Yeah, but I don't know. I agree. They'd have to be pretty knocked off their socks to trade Kevin Love, but I think they're certainly open to it.
Yeah,
they're certainly open to it.
You know what? At some point, I think, Dino, that will happen. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, now or later. Again, the story, at least as of right now, the Cavaliers, the newest member is a young man from Vanderbilt, the guard Darius Garland, a point guard, 6'3", 175 pounds.
His dad was a player.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah. I think now I saw somebody tweeted out, that's 3 members of the Cavs now who have parents that played in the NBA. Obviously, Larry Nance and Kevin Love.
Yeah, there you go. This kid, it's amazing now. You go back 24 hours ago, okay? This kid was pitching himself to the Knicks.
Yes.
I mean, he thought that he came on himself. He didn't need an agent to do this. He's been very, very vocal himself, saying, I'm the best guard in the draft, okay? And there are some pretty good guards in the draft. I mean, there really were. I mean, the kid from Duke is a really good guard. There are 2 of them from Duke that are really good guards, okay? The kid from Texas Tech is a really good player. But he came out, and the kid from North Carolina is a real kid with the hair. He's a really good player. But this kid came out and said, listen, I'm the best guard. So on a last-minute check, the Knicks whisked him in for a workout yesterday. Okay, even though they're really on R.J. Barrett at the time, and everybody in New York wanted them to take R.J. Barrett, and eventually they did, still they said, well, we have 24 hours, let's bring the kid in. So he worked out for the Knicks yesterday. So, I mean, he's a very, very confident player.
Yeah, and you know who his agent is? Rich Paul.
There you go.
So, I mean, there's a little bit of a, one of the first people to congratulate him was Tristan Thompson, both on Twitter and in a FaceTime call. So, I mean, sometimes there's a little bit of that swagger that comes from Clutch Sports and everything. It's a LeBron thing.
I think tomorrow, I believe that the Cavaliers will do a big-time presentation, and he will be brought here to Cleveland. And whoever they pick, I would assume, at the 26th spot, whatever they do the rest of the night. But also of interest, they'll really make it official, and I believe that we'll all get to meet Lindsey Gottlieb, who is the new assistant coach for John Beilein, coming over from Cal Berkeley and joining the staff, getting kudos all around the NBA that she's getting this opportunity because she's done some amazing things in building that Cal program, and was always, I guess, at Golden State Warriors practices, and was always, in the ear of Steve Kerr, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And even the night before a critical game in the NBA Finals, upon the announcing that the Cavs had hired her, Steve Kerr said, I am so proud of her. What a great hire by John Beilein and the Cavaliers. And they'll make her available and the rest of the staff.
And I like the staff. I mean, you mentioned yesterday Antonio Lang, the former Cavalier, the former Duke star, and obviously Bickerstaff, who has the NBA experience to help out Beilein as he kind of figures out the nuances of the NBA versus all of his experience in college. So it's an interesting dynamic that he's put together with the coaching staff.
I think it is. Yeah, I really do. I believe it is. I think they know what they're all about. Okay, this is a process.
Yep.
They're not one step away. They're a few steps away from being back where they're participating again in postseason and making a run at the Eastern Conference. But they're down the road a little bit, but this is a process now, and they know who they are. And I think that's why they look for this kind of coach.
Yeah.
And he's looked for this kind of staff to join him because they're going to be young.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going to say, how's the college coach, handling the NBA situation? Well, it's not much different from what he had in Ann Arbor. I mean, it's a young team.
He's going to have 19 and 20-year-olds.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
so it'll be just like normal for him. But hopefully the Cavaliers, another piece of this new foundation, this new era, hopefully has been brought in and built tonight with the acquisition, the selection of Darius Garland with the 5th overall pick. And remember, we'll keep an eye on trades certainly, and the Cavs are slated to pick, at least right now, number 26 also in this first round.
Dino, something I don't understand why the NBA does it this way, but there are a number of kids that are getting picked here in the first round that are getting picked, let's say, and putting a Laker hat on.
I hate that. I
But
hate that.
But
you
know
that.
Yeah,
I know.
you know that the pick is he's going to the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
There were, no matter what happens, I mean, like for instance, the kid that went, DeAndre Hunter, gets picked from Virginia. He's going to the Atlanta Hawks, but he's in the number 4 spot, and he's wearing the other
Laker
hat.
hat.
Yeah, he's wearing the Laker hat. So I don't understand why they just don't make the trades official.
Yeah, why does it take so long for the paperwork to clear in the NBA? I've never understood that. Going back to when Chris Webb, when Chris Webber was taken by Golden State before he went to Washington or whatever. Right. I never understood that. Never understood that.
Right.
But Atlanta Hawks, by the way, are having themselves a pretty good night with Hunter and Reddish. That's not bad. I mean, you talk about a team that is rebuilding like the Cavs are. That's not a bad duo to aid in your rebuilding. And then of course, obviously, David Griffin gets his player of the future in Zion Williamson to rebuild the Pelicans.
Yeah, and then picked up the kid from Texas, a big center to really bolster their front line. Here's something to think about. How the heck did Duke not win the national championship?
That's going to be one of the big mysteries.
Zion Williamson, Barrett,
R.J. Barrett,
and
Cam Reddish. Three players go in the top 10.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, that really is amazing.
And it's not like the rest of the team. I mean, they had other really good players too around it, but with that big 3, and they still couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you.
Yeah.
It should, we all assume we know what's going to happen.
Which one of them missed the free throw? I think it was Barrett, wasn't it? Did he miss the free throw?
Yeah.
It wasn't Reddish, was it?
I think it was Barrett.
It was Barrett. Yeah. Barrett's a great story. He's from Canada. His dad and mom both played at St. John's.
Wow.
Okay. They graduated from St. John's. His dad is the head of the Canadian national team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
kind of like the Dave I don't know, or the Jerry Colangelo, so to speak.
Right,
The Dave. I really trace myself Dave Gavitt, because he was the one who kind of started USA basketball after running the Big East.
He also started the Big East.
Yeah,
that's right. And I can remember Dave Gavitt. A lot of people thought that Dave Gavitt at some point was going to be the head coach of the Celtics.
Yes.
Okay. Dave Gavitt took tiny Providence College, the Friars of Providence College, and he had Marvin Barnes and Ernie DiGregorio.
Yes.
And took Providence to the Final Four. I mean, it was just amazing. I can remember watching them. Their games were on a Providence television station that the signal got into Boston, and everybody was watching them play in this bandbox little gymnasium that they played in. And Dave Gavitt, went on, had a great career at Providence. And he didn't coach the Celtics, but he became the president of the Celtics.
That's right.
And did a great job there. And then, of course, he was the founding father of the Big East.
Yeah.
He really did an
made that conference what it is. And then when it was time after the USA lost the Olympics in '88, he ran USA basketball to start out and got the NBA players involved and formed the Dream Team.
That's right. Wow.
You don't get that. As we always say, you don't get that anywhere else,
Yeah,
folks.
yeah.
Little remedial basketball lesson. Okay. More coverage on WKYC.com. Ben Axelrod's live blog is up right now. Also, everything you need to know about the newest member of the Cavs, Darius Garland, and what others around the league are saying about this pick. Jimmy will have more tonight on Channel 3 News at 11 as well. Thank you, my friend, for joining me. And we thank you all for joining us. It's the Donovan Live Postgame Show, the NBA Draft Edition, right here on WKYC's Facebook Live.
All right. Wow, how about that? What a story.
Yes.
Marvin Barnes, Ernie D.